Alright, Daniel, I'm done. You can come in now, man. Holy shit.
Let's go.
Daniel Cormier, 6-time U.S. Olympic wrestling team member, a World Wrestling Championships bronze medalist, NCAA runner-up, a Strikeforce heavyweight champion, one half of two of the greatest UFC rivalries, and the second fighter in UFC history to hold 2 belts at the same time. Often brought up in MMA GOAT conversations, Daniel Cormier is one of the most accomplished fighters in the history of professional MMA. While his physique would suggest otherwise, he was one of the most gifted athletes to ever step foot in the octagon, especially at heavyweight. Daniel Cormier's average Joe persona and lifestyle, paired with his unblemished past with drug testing, makes him not only one of the more respected fighters, but also one of the more respected figures in MMA.
You're a John.
Oh my God, you're so weak.
First off, you hit like a if you
I'm sure you guys are just dying to know what my thoughts are on Daniel Cormier, so let's just
Okay, little boy, you're a punk.
Yo, it sounds like former UFC double champ Daniel Cormier is right outside my door.
When this is all said and done, you'll go back to being broke and being a loser as you are.
Yo, Daniel, hold on. I'll let you in after I finish this review, bro. I won't talk any shit on you, alright? Don't worry, bro. Although DC's bread and butter has always been his wrestling, from what I've seen, he was a pretty complete, well-rounded fighter that fought very smart, especially as a shorter heavyweight. He almost always had a height and reach disadvantage, and I haven't seen a lot of fighters that are as good as DC was at closing the distance on his opponents. With his constant forward pressure, he kept his opponents moving backwards, and he would throw jab feints, and then he would often come in with a left hook and then get that tight-ass clinch, and where he was a beast at throwing heavy punches in the clinch. But he really found the clinch wherever he could. When his opponent's head was down and within reach, he would grab that shit like a damn mob boss and make his opponent pay with heavy uppercuts. Outside of the clinch, while DC's reach was shitty compared to all his opponents at heavyweight and light heavyweight, it was so shitty. He had T-Rex arms, bro. He couldn't reach his opponent at all. His reach was terrible, man. His arms were short as fuck compared to some of the opponents he faced, bro. It was so bad. His reach was, and I guess is, terrible. Dude, his reach sucks. But he had many moments of winning exchanges on the feet against his opponents. I guess with John Jones and his massive 12-inch reach advantage, he posed some real issues for Daniel Cormier, but he worked with that shit, and his fundamental boxing skills and his accuracy was pretty solid, especially when mixed in with low kicks. He was a very intelligent stand-up fighter.
Daniel Cormier. Wow.
On the ground, DC's control was incomparable, and with the wrestling accolades he has, how could he be challenged when it came to ground control? From the ground, DC often busted his opponents up and made them look like this guy, and he was able to find submissions a few times throughout his career as he retired with a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. To get his opponents to the ground, DC was great at mixing up his takedown approaches. He used trips, he used single and double leg takedowns, and he has quite the impressive reel of picking opponents up and slamming them to the goddamn ground. On top of everything, Daniel's cardio was amazing, especially for a bigger guy, and it was reminiscent of his teammate Cain Velasquez. DC's a monster. I'm gonna give him a 9.3 out of 10 for fighting ability.
I wish they would let me next door so I can spit in your f***ing face.
I'm not interested in fighting for anything but titles, and I don't imagine there's going to be a title in the future, so that'll be it for me.
Daniel Cormier, especially with his career behind him, is beloved and respected, even though he's kind of a polarizing commentator. But we're here to talk about how he was seen while he was a competitor, guys. He navigated his career with a sense of humbleness, respect, and humor. Take a look at this shit.
Every inch of me is perfect from the bottom to the top. Yeah, my mama, she told me don't worry about your size. So she kept feeding me Popeye's chicken, those legs and thighs. Because you know I'm all about that cake, and and chicken. I'm all about that cake and chicken.
DC came into the UFC with some hype behind his name, and he lived up to that hype. And as he was building his name up even more, people came to find that he was a nice, hard-working, honest guy, you know. His likability did take a few hits when he found himself first in a rivalry against the greatest of all time, Jon Jones, and second in a rivalry against the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic. Speaking on Jon Jones, guys, Jon Jones is a scumbag. There's no way of sugarcoating it. But he has a strong base of fans, and every time Jon Jones looks to make a comeback, that the ideals of his base of fans, you know, flare and swell up to the rest of the MMA community, and everybody gets behind him and gets excited for his return. When he does return, you know, like when he returned after beating up his fiance. When he returned after hitting a pregnant woman with his car. When he returned after, you know, getting a DUI. You know, leading up to both the fights that DC had with Jon Jones, the boos and cheers shifted a lot between DC and Jones, which would be unexplainable if Jon Jones wasn't the greatest of all time.
I'm sitting here and I see him. He's over there. But is he really gonna be in Anaheim? Is this guy gonna mess this up again by doing steroids or snorting cocaine or sandblasting prostitutes? What's this guy gonna do? What's this guy gonna do to mess this up this time?
Prostitutes. I beat you after a weekend of cocaine.
And prostitutes. You know what happened behind the stage? He's a bitch. He's a bitch. He's a bitch ass.
That had you crying.
Hey, he's a bitch, and he said something about my kids, so I smacked him in the face with a water bottle.
Yeah, you threw
bitch
a water
ass
bottle.
Nigga.
Yeah, you threw a water bottle.
You know what you are.
Now you calling me
Yes.
a
Let
bum?
me tell you how.
Real cool.
He said, he just said he's back, right? But is he back? Doesn't he have 2 more months of suspension?
Yeah, exactly.
Is he back? Are you back, junkie?
I'm back. I'm back.
Who are you to say who's a champion? You're some guy that doesn't even fight. You're damn near retired, son. You're barely coming back. How are you gonna tell somebody something? You're a retired man. Shut your ass up. Let the guy ask his question. Proceed, sir.
Daniel Cormier lost both fights against Jon Jones, and the first one, you know, was pretty close. In my eyes, it was a good contest, but DC pushed forward and found himself in the rivalry with Stipe Miocic, which came after DC knocked Stipe out via a great knockout to win the heavyweight belt. They went on to fight 2 more times, with Stipe Miocic getting the better of the trilogy. And the whole time, you know, as Stipe is a respected fighter, people were kind of torn over who to root for. Besides having issues with those 2 guys, DC dominated every other contender at heavyweight and light heavyweight. And that contributed greatly to his star power, and his way with words definitely didn't hurt at getting fans to come over on his side. With his only controversy really being the weigh-in towel incident, there isn't a lot to criticize or hate about Daniel Cormier as a person, and that's why I'm giving him a 9.5 out of 10 for likability.
You can tell he always smirks when he tries to say he's not going to do it. Look at him. He can't even help himself. Look, he's doing it right now. He's trying to smirks right away as soon as you talk about the body shots.
Daniel Cormier has to be in the UFC's top 20 stars of all time. You know, really after 2 fights, he was seen as a legit contender, and he had Dana White seeing the potential dollar signs that could follow in some big fights. After his move down to light heavyweight, it was after 2 fights that he found himself against the champ Jon Jones. As you saw, their banter and hatred for each other was fun as hell to watch and made for a great tension-filled storyline. Their first fight at UFC 182 was a sold-out show and reportedly did around 800,000 pay-per-view buys. Their second fight did 860,000 pay-per-view buys. They were both huge successes. DC's fights with Stipe Miocic ranged from 250,000 for the first fight to 500,000 pay-per-view buys for the third fight. Also decent numbers. Daniel was a big star, you know, but unlike Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor, he needed a worthy opponent standing across from him because, you know, he needed to make the fight build-ups exciting and engaging, you know, otherwise people knew what he was going to do. He was just going to go in and ragdoll the motherfucker and leave with a win. I can't speak on numbers for his other fights, but when he was on a card, usually people were talking about it, simply because he was a gifted athlete and he knew how to hype up a fight. I'm going to give Daniel Cormier an 8.5 out of 10 for saleability. Overall, Daniel Cormier gets a 9.1 out of 10. Daniel Cormier retired after his trilogy with Stipe Miocic was settled, and he undoubtedly left a lasting impression on the sport of MMA. He was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, which is just another damn feather in his cap. That man has hundreds of feathers in his cap.
I think I may have grabbed the towel in Buffalo.
Today, Daniel Cormier continues to cover the sport he loves through his commentary for the UFC, which I personally think he does a great job at. Alright, hold on a second. Stop right there. Why do people hate Daniel Cormier's commentary so much? I hear people saying he's unprofessional and he's biased, you know, like when he was commentating Islam Makhachev's fight. I forgot he was teammates with Islam Makhachev. It didn't sound to me like he was being biased with his commentary. I mean, from what I remember, I'm not going to go back and watch it right now just so I can prove to you guys that he's non-biased. But it didn't seem to me like he was biased. I had no problem with his commentary. And to the people saying he's unprofessional, he adds fun and color to the commentary. You know, otherwise it would just be John Anik stating what's happening during the fight, which is, you know, it's necessary, but it's boring. So calm the hell down with the criticism of DC's commentary, you mother... I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. He also continues to post regularly on his YouTube channel where he has some pretty good MMA content. Being the second fighter to hold 2 consecutive belts, his legacy won't be forgotten. Many people consider him to be one of the greatest, especially taking into account his clean drug testing record. I would say he's a top 15 MMA GOAT. Maybe one day he'll get bored and box an influencer, but otherwise that man is done, and he's getting fat as hell now. Alright, Daniel, I'm done. You can come in now, man. Holy shit.
Hey, what's up? I'm Daniel Cormier, former double champ and current UFC commentator. I really appreciate your content. It's very good. It's very good stuff. I love your content. I really appreciate your content. It's very good content. It's good stuff.
Oh, shit.
It's good stuff, bro.
Oh, shit.
It's good stuff.
Oh, damn, bro. Thank you so much, man. That means so much. Thank you for breaking into my house and checking in on me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. But if I'm not mistaken, you call me short and fat. Am I right?
No, don't worry about that, dude. That was just a joke. Come on, stop it.
Nah. Get your ass over here, boy.
Oh, shit, bro. Oh, shit.
Stupid bitch. So, fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay. Oh, shit. Oh. Whoa.
Let's go.